Chapter 26. The Known World, Known Again. On the ridge he stood and gazed down over the blue, green, and gold valley that rolled and rippled to the smoky gray mountains in the north. Supple fields of tasseled corn framed by vineyards and amber round hills, elegantly gridded with orchards of apple, plum, and pear. Meanders of riparian vine following ancient stream beds, and here and there a bleached white house, a brown weathered barn, a garden fenced from the deer, a dog running, and on the distant ridges stately rows of pitchy pine and sweet cedar. His eyes welled with tears. Such unbearable beauty, which had once simply been life as it was, everyday life, the life you were given, from which you yearned desperately to escape. Oh, people, if you only knew, outside of this, there is only chaos and cruelty. No, there is something else. There is free land. He followed the road into the valley, heartbroken and enraptured. He examined every leaf on every tree. He caressed the bark of trees and listened to the barking of dogs and the trills of birds as if they were fiddle tunes. A flicker hammered out a rhythm from the top of a mighty oak, and squirrels chased each other amorously around its trunk. Sweet smoke rose straight up from chimneys to join the blue sky. He plucked a low-hanging pear from a roadside tree. It tasted sweet and sorrowful. A woman pinning white sheets to a clothesline smiled at him. "Where are you heading, traveler?" "North," he replied. "King corn." "Well, that be 7 days walking. You make it by Cornfest." Nightfall. He came across a roadhouse nestled in a stand of willows on the shore of a river. There was music from within, fiddles and guitars and the sound of drunken voices. 2 separate herds of goats milled about untethered on the grounds. He knew there were 2 because there were 2 different brands. One the Trident, the other the Hourglass. Shoving open the heavy wooden slab of a door, he was met with a redolence of spices, especially coriander. And he remembered. This was the roadhouse where he stopped to eat on the very first night of his wanderings, where he first lost his voice. But he knew he would not lose his voice tonight. He eased his way in and moved among the long, heavy tables where the same people as years before sat. Goat people wearing colorful rags, along with potters in clay gray shirts, farmers in bib overalls, wood carvers with sawdust in their hair, mummers, both men and women in white robes. The sight of beer steins full and empty and heavy stone bowls ladled with stew, the sound of hearty voices and boisterous laughter. These things filled him with warmth and tenderness. Sweet people, innocent people, people free of the sorrow of chaos and cruelty. He wanted to join them, but he had to go slow. He was a stranger here. He sought out the only single table in the house where he had sat before. A stout woman appeared with a tray. "You'd be wanting some supper, I suppose," she said. Tonight we be serving the beef brisket with parsnips and rutabagas, and a fine pale ale. He sat up suddenly with a start. You eat cow? She eyed him suspiciously. Ye not be one of them abstainers, be ye? Oh, no, not at all. Yes, I'll have the brisket, but just water, please, no ale. The brisket was warm and flavorful, and the water cold and clean. He put aside all inclinations for a stronger beverage and settled back to listen to the conversations that surrounded him. I dropped a whole load of onions on the road to Sputum this morning. The speaker was a farmer in a broad straw hat. Something scared the donkey. Don't know what. Where's the onions now? Asked a woman in a dressmaker's smock. Still in the road? I need me some onions. Just the bruised ones. A messenger stopped by to help me pick 'em up. I never saw 'em coming, and I never saw 'em going. It were strange. Probably a green man, said the woman, also what scared the donkey. You give 'em something? You're supposed to give green men something made out of dirt. It keeps 'em down. No, it weren't no green man. Had the armband. You know there's no such thing as green men, Millie. Don't believe in 'em. Well, that's why you keep dropping onions. Across the table, a man in a mummer's robe lifted his stein as if to make a toast. There's things outside of what we know or believe in, he said. Spoken like a true mummer, Millie replied. If there really are things outside of what we believe in, why don't we just believe in them? The mummer only laughed and the farmer raised his stein. Well, I only believe in the things I can see. And right now, what I believe in is this fine pale ale. Here's to you, mummer. The mummer and the farmer clinked their steins and drank. But Millie persisted. That's not what the mummer said. He said there's things outside of what you believe in. That's why you leave them things alone. You give the green man something made out of dirt if he helps you. Ask the mummer. That's what the mummers are always trying to tell us with their stories and their dances. The mummer beamed a big smile and waved his stein in a wobbly manner. Silly Millie, we're just trying to make you laugh. A burst of laughter broke from an adjacent table where a group of metal bangers were drinking. To the mummers, they make us laugh. Drawn by the mirth and the camaraderie, Johnny found himself rising from his solitary table, stein in hand, and approaching the talkers. Evening, friends, he said. Mind if I join your conversation? Millie's grin displayed a jumble of crooked teeth. Welcome, stranger. What you be drinking? That's similar to what you're drinking, said Johnny as he took the proffered chair. Well, weigh in your thoughts, stranger. Farmer Levon here, he says he don't believe in green men because he's never seen them. Now, Mummer Cade here, he says there's things outside of what we know and what we believe in. But then he says mummers are only here to make us laugh. I say, if you see things you don't believe in, you gotta appease them, so they leaves you alone. That's my approach. What be your thoughts? As Johnny settled into the chair, he could feel his heart rising up into his head. How good it was to join a warm circle of lost and friendly souls to sit down for a while in the comfort of strangers, to breathe new life into old ideas. "Well," he said, after a suitable season of ponderment, "here's my thoughts on the matter. Here's my money's worth." Millie gave him a puzzled look. "What's money's worth?" For a moment it felt like there was no earth beneath him and he was falling, but he caught himself. Oh, that's just an expression where I came from. Here's my thoughts on the matter." He tried to pull his ideas together, but they were going everywhere all at once, so he just jumped in. "I think Mummercade is mostly right, only more so. There are more things to see than your eyes could ever see. If your eyes could see everything that there was to see, they would explode right out of your face. If your ears could hear everything there was to hear, they would explode right out of the side of your head. So Millie's right too when she says you have to appease the things you see, but you don't believe in. But consider this. Imagine a beautiful forest surrounded on all sides by a world of chaos and cruelty. That could be us right now. Green and peaceful, everybody happy. We know that we can't leave because it's too dangerous, so we stay here and we love each other and we make each other laugh and make each other happy. And that laughter and that happiness, it moves outward to the edge of the forest and it makes new trees to start to grow. Now, you know how long it takes to make a tree. Sometimes it takes longer than even a person. So, a forest is growing out always slowly into the world of chaos and cruelty because of laughter and happiness. Never mind the rituals, just laughter and happiness. And where the forest grows, chaos and cruelty are pushed back. If those people in that forest stay true and teach their children and teach their children to teach their children to stay true, someday that forest will overtake the world of chaos and cruelty. There was a long silence after Johnny's words ran out. He hadn't expected it, and he didn't like it. He thought he was just going to blend into the talk with some ideas of his own. Millie sat with her nose wrinkled, her lip pulled up, her jagged teeth shining in the corn lamp. A glob of drool was slowly rolling out of Farmer Levon's mouth. The mummer looked like he was asleep. "Darndest thing I ever heard," said Millie at last. But then the mummer spoke. No, I think I know what he's saying. It's like the stories we always act out at the festivals. The borders are sealed with cornmeal. Then Borderbinder returns and opens them up again. Maybe Borderbinder doesn't return all at once. Maybe he's like that forest, growing outward a little at a time. Now Johnny was getting really uncomfortable. He wished he could change the subject. He wished somebody would change the subject. He wished they would start talking about how to fatten spring turkeys or which way to raise the banner pole at the harvest festival. But then a ruckus broke out at a nearby table. An arm wrestling match was going on and people were gathering, rooting and cheering. Skirting around them, a man approached. Johnny recognized him as the fiddler in the band. He was still holding his instrument, and he stepped directly up to the table. "Evening, stranger," he said. "I couldn't help but notice you were carrying a turtle box on your backpack. Maybe you know some fiddle tunes. You'd like to join us?" A broad smile of relief broke over Johnny's face. "I know all the fiddle tunes, and a few others." "Well, what you waiting for then? Go get your box. What be your name, young man?" "Jimmy," replied Johnny Arcane. "Jimmy Clearlight.